Welcome everybody to the semifinal breakdown video, playoff edition for the season 10. We got we got some D St. beats playing in the background while we break this down for you. The Rhinos lost to the Gators in a shootout. What an absolute classic game, and the best game of the weekend for sure was 45 to 37. Gators over the Rhinos. These two teams met before back in season 2, and it was 45 to 35. Rico Bennett and Thomas Brown knock off the Rhinos as the number 1 seed and move on to the semifinals. The Werewolves, Lester Frost, quarterback for the Werewolves, gets his first ever start in the playoffs going against these Piranhas, and it was a dominant performance. The Piranhas fumbled multiple times. The Werewolves had 4 forced fumbles, scoring 59 points and tying the record for most ever in a playoff game, 59. And guess who set that record? The Piranhas back in season 1 against the Blue Jays. So, bittersweet game for the Piranhas. They got there. They went to the championship game back in season 9, just one season ago, and they got back to the playoffs. Isaac Cobb, the running back, 1-year pro, had an amazing run last season and ended in the playoff or in the championship game. And he had an amazing season, scoring 25 touchdowns here in season 10. And he gets knocked out in the first round. The Piranhas traded Jay Bomber, quarterback and owner, and now they got Benjamin Harris in there, and what a difference it made. And the Werewolves score 59 points and move on to play the Gators. The Demons and Wildcats had a great matchup. It was a lot more defensive game than we thought it was going to be, but the Demons end up coming up on top in a really tight, contested defensive matchup between these two teams, and the Demons move on to the semifinals. The Wolverines beat the Bears as the Bears and Jimmy Capps and Mike Davis were unable to rise to the occasion and couldn't get it going offensively, and the Wolverines just couldn't be stopped like they have all season long. Johnny Romolo leading the way. He also has 25 touchdowns with his draftee Isaac Cobb. Both of them set 25, which is the record in a season, and they both got it. Wolverines running back Johnny Romolo also had 3 receiving touchdowns on the season with a total of 28 touchdowns. Johnny Romolo, he ends up having 200 yards plus against the Bears here in the first round and moves on to play the Demons. We'll take a look at the Demons and the Wolverines first. The Demons go on the road as the 9-7. They were 8-7 as the 7th seed, and they are now going against the 3rd seed Wolverines. The Wolverines just have not been able to be stopped on offense. Their running game, Johnny Romolo, there's 3rd for most points per game, and they have a great defense with a lot of young players: Harvey Howard, Ty Ward, Duke Warner, and the list goes on. Actually, speaking about these Wolverines, not a lot of people may know. Everyone may focus on William Taylor and Johnny Romolo, but no one really knows about the young rookie Chad Grant, number 83, 6'3". He's 21 years old, and he leads his team in touchdowns, receiving yards, and receptions, and had a big touchdown against the Bears, I believe, which was their first touchdown. Also, the middle linebacker, Darius Gaines, the 34-year-old, stepped back in season, I believe it was in week 3 or 4, and Eric McCoy, the young rookie, 25 years old, older rookie, I guess, but Eric McCoy stepped in the role, and he has been dominant for the Wolverines, and a big reason they've been coming on top. Also, their free safety, Howard Lester, He's 23 years old and he's a rookie. The free safety for the Wolverines have had multiple rookies turn out for them, pan out for them, and are playing at a really high level. They got their middle linebacker, their free safety, their running or their wide receiver, all rookies and all performing at a really, really high level. Okay, now let's take a look at these demons because you cannot leave these demons out. I heard the Rhinos and I watched the Rhinos video, loved watching it, but all he did was mention Kevin Roach and he did mention Charles Fern, but Charles Fern is not a free safety, he's a strong safety. And also Nate Hollingsworth and Lee Bozeman. They have been rotating the free safeties. Nate Hollingsworth and Lee Bozeman have been going back and forth between who's starting and who's not all season long. So who will get the start at free safety? Will it be Lee Bozeman or Nate Hollingsworth? That's the big question for the Demons defense to keep an eye out for. But everyone, you may talk about Kevin Roach. We'll talk about him for a little bit. Kevin Roach, 6'6", 240 pounds. He's 26 years old and arguably the best defensive lineman in the league. I'm going to go out there and say that Kevin Roach may be and probably is the best defensive lineman in the league. He has never been to a championship game. The Demons been to one, but that was back in season 3. So Kevin Roach was not on the team then. So you got the best defensive end in the semifinals, one game away from going to the championship game. Yes, Kevin Roach is going to have a big game. These free safeties, Nate Hollingsworth or Lee Bozeman, whoever they decide to start, and Charles Fern at the safety positions are going to have big days as well, holding down Chad Grant. But again, it all comes down to the running back of Johnny Romolo. So let's give the attention where the real attention is, and that's these Demons linebackers. They are my X factor for this game here. The Demons linebackers have to have an amazing game. Alex Dombrowski, Chris Morris, and Trent Cannon. All 3 of their middle linebackers have been starting at all positions. I believe Chris Morris and Alex Dombrowski have been moving between right and outside linebacker and middle linebacker, and you'll see Trent Cannon playing on the outside linebacker position as well. These guys are young, they're fast, they're determined. Well, Alex Dombrowski's 30 and Chris Morris is 34, but you wouldn't know it because they're got really high ratings and play at a really high level. So keep in mind that these Demons have great linebackers, and it's a big reason why they're here, followed up with the 1-2 punch with Kevin Roach and the great safeties. The Wolverines and the Demons, again, like we said, is going to come down to Johnny Romolo versus the Demons linebackers, but the offense for the Demons is going to have to keep up with these Wolverines, and I think they can do it because they're playing against a 10th ranked defense, and they've been playing way better than their statistics have been showing. They've been coming up in big moments. And they also score 31 points per game. It's tied for 5th, which is only a 1-point difference per game than the Wolverines. So really looking forward to this matchup on Saturday night. Stay tuned, guys, and let's hear your thoughts in the comments. Who you think is going to win, and what do you think the X factor is going to be in this game? Okay, now let's go take a look at the number 1 seed. Gators beating the Rhinos last week and now play the Werewolves, who had the number 1 ranked defense and still do, and had an amazing performance against the Piranhas, scoring 59 big ones and tying the record. The Gators scored 45 points as well, so they're no danger to scoring points, arguably against a tougher opponent. The Gators have second for most points per game, second total offense, number 1 rush offense between Thomas Brown and Rico Bennett, and they have the number 1 rush defense and are third for turnovers. The Werewolf, if they were going against any other team that's left, the Demons or the Wolverines, I would be going for the Gators here. But since the Werewolves are really strong and played a really strong game last week and have a lot of momentum going into this game, I really feel like these Werewolves, if anyone's going to upset the Gators this season, it could easily be the Werewolves. The Werewolves and the Gators have played before. They played back in season 8 in the first round of the playoffs where the Werewolves won the game. I believe it was 17. Let me take a quick look here. Yeah, no, it was 27-25. The Werewolves beat the Gators in a really, really close one in season 8 in the first round. Can the Gators come back and get their revenge in the postseason, and get to a championship game? And they've never been to a championship game, these Werewolves, and the Gators have been there back in season 2. It's been a very long time. Let's take a look at these players, though. For the Werewolves, Chris Jones and Lester Frost. Lester Frost is the quarterback. He's only 20 years old. He had his first ever career start in the season, and then he had his first ever playoff game, and now he finds himself in the semifinals. Lester Frost is one game away from being an absolute legend, and if he can knock off these Gators and allow his number one defense to hold the Gators strong, because we're not talking about a weak opponent here. The Gators absolutely have been amazing on offense, but haven't proven themselves against a big team like this. The Werewolves, they lost to the Werewolves, or the Werewolves lost in the regular season against the Gators. We can actually go and take a look at that. They lost, or they beat the Werewolves 35-23. And obviously, they steamrolled a lot of teams. Lost to the Wildcats in overtime, and they only lost to the Vipers as well, only by 3 points. And they have just been on a tear ever since, and now scored 45 points in the last round. The Gators are definitely favored to win this one. I'm going to say the X factor is obviously the Werewolves defense. Can the Werewolves stop these Gators from running the ball so well like they have all season and stop them from scoring points and settling for field goals? Can the Werewolves get to their first ever championship game? This is the farthest they've ever made it before. They made it to the semifinals back in season 8, obviously when they beat the Gators. So this is only their second ever semifinal game, and they lost to the Vipers in the season 8 semifinals. Let's take a quick look to see if the Werewolves. I thought the Werewolves may have got there before. No, they lost in the first round, I believe, every time. Or no, no, no. They beat the Vipers once, actually. Way back. When did they beat them? That's right. Way back in season 3, I believe it is. The Werewolves beat the Vipers as the 8th seed and beat the number 1 Vipers and went to the semifinals and lost to the Wildcats. So this is their third semifinal game for these Werewolves. Can they get over the hump with their new quarterback Lester Frost and with their number 1 ranked defense? Looking at the Gators, can Thomas Brown won his first. Thomas Brown won his first ever playoff game last week against the Rhinos. He was 0-3, and now he gets his first win against the Rhinos. Can Thomas Brown take his team to the championship? He's never been to a championship. Like I said, he never won a playoff game. Lost multiple times. Is this the Gators' year? They're the number 1 seed. They didn't lose in the first round. Now they got all the momentum behind them, and they got quite an opponent in front of them. The Werewolves, honestly, if the Werewolves were playing the Demons or the Wolverines, I think I'd be going for the Werewolves. But I got to go for the Gators here just because there's no one to stop them. But if anybody can stop them, it might be the Werewolves. So who do you think's going to win? Who do you think your X factor is? I'm going to go with the Werewolves defense. And, yeah, will we see 2 W's, Werewolves and the Wolverines, who both have never been to the championship? Will we see them get there, or will the Gators get to their second, and will the Demons get to their second? Demons have a good chance to beat these Wolverines as they are more seasoned and more has more and have a great record in the playoffs. But the Wolverines have never been here before. This is their chance to be legends right here. Can Johnny Romolo be the legend we know he can be and beat these demons and get his team all the way to the championship game? And is he's got if Romolo gets there, think of that for a second. If Romolo gets to the championship game, he was rookie of the year, and now he's going to be MVP of the season and rookie of the year in season 9. He could be potentially be MVP of the season for season 10. And can he get himself to the championship in season 10? All this in 2 years. That's absolutely incredible. He's got over 4,000 yards and 44 touchdowns, I believe, also in 2 seasons. That's really impressive. Some absolute legendary numbers. Can Johnny Romolo put the team on his back and get over the Demons and get to the championship game? Or will the Demons knock them down and disappoint the Wolverines and break the Wolverines' dreams? Will the Gators prove that they can win against big teams in the big game, Thomas Brown? And can the Werewolves finally get over the hump? Hope you guys are excited for these games as much as I am, because I know it's going to be a good one. Thanks for tuning in.